Hey everyone, and welcome back to Shadow Breach Files. I'm your host, and today we're diving into one of the most chilling and mysterious cyber incidents of our time. Imagine this: December 22nd, 2014, 11:47 p.m. Pyongyang time. For a brief, surreal moment, North Korea was connected to the world, and then darkness. An entire nation's internet vanished, just like that. In the shadowy world of cyber warfare, battles aren't always fought with bombs and bullets. Sometimes they're fought with lines of code, digital attacks, and unseen forces. In 2014, one such battle unfolded, leaving a nation in the dark and completely reshaping how we think about international conflict. This story started with a Hollywood comedy, escalated into a full-blown international incident, and ended with an entire country being digitally silenced. This is the story of a digital ghost, a retaliatory strike, and the mysterious forces who, for a moment, took down North Korea. Our story actually begins far from the digital battleground, right here in the heart of Hollywood, at Sony Pictures Entertainment. It was November 2014, and the studio was gearing up for the Christmas release of a controversial comedy called The Interview. Starring the always hilarious Seth Rogen and James Franco, the film depicted the fictional assassination of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Now, to most of us, it was just a comedy. But to North Korea, it was perceived as a direct act of war. Then, on November 24, 2014, Sony Pictures employees walked into work and were met with a terrifying sight, their computer screens displaying a menacing message. The company had been hacked, and not just a little hack, a massive, devastating attack. The attackers called themselves the Guardians of Peace, or GOP. They didn't just break in, they ransacked the place, stealing terabytes of incredibly sensitive data. Unreleased films, employee personal information, private executive emails, and financial records. This wasn't just about stealing data for profit, though. The hackers had a very specific demand: cancel the interview, or face even worse consequences. As Dr. Sarah Chen, a leading cybersecurity expert, put it, what made the Sony hack unprecedented wasn't just the sheer scale of the data stolen, but the intensely political motivation behind it. This was pure cyber warfare, cleverly disguised as some kind of hacktivism. As all this leaked data started appearing online, revealing embarrassing emails and incredibly sensitive business information, the US government launched an urgent investigation. Their conclusion: it was absolutely explosive. On December 19, 2014, the FBI officially attributed the attack to North Korea, specifically to a notorious hacking group known as Lazarus. The Hermit Kingdom had reached across the digital divide to strike right at the heart of American entertainment. President Obama himself called it an act of cyber vandalism and promised a proportional response. But what form would that response take? The world watched and waited. 3 days later, the answer came, but not in the way anyone expected. At approximately 11:47 p.m. Pyongyang time, on December 22nd, North Korea's internet began to flicker. Within hours, it was completely, utterly dark. To understand just how devastating this was, you have to grasp North Korea's unique digital isolation. The entire country has fewer internet connections than a typical American city block. Professor James Wright, a geopolitical analyst, explained it perfectly. North Korea's internet infrastructure is incredibly fragile by design. The regime controls every single byte of data that flows in and out of the country. And that very control, ironically, made them incredibly vulnerable. The blackout lasted for nearly 10 hours. For a country already so isolated from the world, it was complete digital silence. No emails, no web browsing, absolutely no connection to the outside world whatsoever. The timing was impossible to ignore. Just days after the US promised retaliation for the Sony hack, North Korea's internet simply vanished. Coincidence? The world certainly didn't think so. But here's where our story gets complicated, because in the world of cyber warfare, nothing is ever as simple as it seems. When asked about the North Korean internet outage, the Obama administration's response was a masterclass in carefully crafted ambiguity. They stated, "We're not going to discuss operational details about possible response options or comment on those types of reports in any way, except to say that as we implement our responses, some will be seen, some may not be seen." North Korea's response, however, was far less diplomatic. State media immediately called the outage an act of state terrorism and vehemently accused the United States of cyber warfare. Dr. Michael Torres, an international law expert, noted, "This incident truly highlighted a fundamental problem with cyber warfare: attribution and proportionality. How do you respond to a cyber attack? And perhaps even more critically, how do you truly prove who was really responsible?" The beauty, or perhaps the danger, of cyber warfare is plausible deniability. The US never officially claimed responsibility for the outage. North Korea continued to deny any involvement in the Sony hack. Both sides could maintain their positions while the digital battle raged on, unseen by most. But in the shadows of cyberspace, the message was crystal clear: attack us and we'll attack back. The question that remained was simple, yet profound. Who actually pulled the trigger on North Korea's internet? So, who was the hacker who took down an entire nation's internet? The truth is, it probably wasn't a single person at all. To take down an entire country's internet requires sophisticated knowledge, significant resources, and access to critical infrastructure. This almost certainly points to a state-level actor. The prevailing theory among cybersecurity experts points directly to US Cyber Command, the Pentagon's elite digital warfare unit. Their mission is clear: to conduct offensive cyber operations against America's adversaries. A former intelligence official who chose to remain anonymous hinted at this. "Without confirming or denying any specific operations, I can tell you that the US has capabilities that most people can't even imagine." Taking down a country with limited internet infrastructure, that's well within our technical abilities. But there's another possibility that some considered: could hacktivist groups like Anonymous have acted independently? Some did claim responsibility, but their technical capabilities for such a sophisticated, sustained attack remain highly questionable. The attack itself was surprisingly elegant in its simplicity. North Korea's internet flows through just a few choke points, mostly through Chinese telecommunications companies. Target those specific connection points, and you can effectively isolate an entire nation. Whether it was through DNS manipulation, BGP hijacking, or direct attacks on internet service providers, the result was the same: complete digital darkness. The Sony hack and the subsequent North Korean internet outage marked a truly pivotal moment in cyber warfare. For the very first time, the world witnessed a clear, undeniable cycle of cyber attack and retaliation between nation-states. This incident set a dangerous precedent. It normalized the idea that cyber attacks could be met with cyber retaliation, blurring the lines between espionage, crime, and acts of war. As Dr. Lisa Nakamura, a future of warfare expert, aptly observed, what we saw in 2014 was just the beginning. Cyber warfare has now become the new normal. Every major power now possesses offensive cyber capabilities, and they are increasingly unafraid to use them. Since 2014, North Korea has only expanded its cyber capabilities. The notorious Lazarus Group has been linked to the devastating WannaCry ransomware attack, massive cryptocurrency thefts worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and continued espionage operations worldwide. The message from that chilling December night in 2014 was undeniably clear. In the digital age, geography means absolutely nothing. A small, isolated nation could reach across the world to strike at a major corporation. And a superpower could respond by cutting that nation off from the digital world entirely. The hacker who took down North Korea may never be officially identified, but the message they sent was unmistakable. In our interconnected digital age, no nation, no corporation, and truly no individual is entirely safe. This incident served as a stark, powerful reminder that the battles of tomorrow are already being fought today, right now, in the invisible realm of cyberspace, with consequences that ripple across our very real world. As we continue to live more and more of our lives online, as our critical infrastructure becomes increasingly connected and reliant on these systems, the stakes of these digital battles only grow higher and more critical. Here at Shadow Breach Files, we are absolutely committed to exposing these hidden battles of the digital age. Because understanding these conflicts isn't just about satisfying curiosity, it's about preparing ourselves for the future. So, what do you think? Was the retaliation justified? How should nations respond to cyber attacks like this? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for Shadow Breach Files for more deep dives into the fascinating and often terrifying world of cybercrime, espionage, and digital warfare. Until next time, stay vigilant in the digital shadows. Thanks for watching.